So as most of you know, I do a little bit with motorized bicycles. As years have gone on, I haven't done as much as I used to, but every once in a while I dink around with them a bit. But you may recognize this bike here. Most of my videos were made with it, and it still runs good. I ride it around. I don't probably put more than 200 miles on it a year at this point, as opposed to back when I put about 1,500 miles on it a year. But anyway, I got a few builds going, so I'm going to do a little unboxing video of the Chinese motorized bike kit, and it's going to go on this bike I picked up over here for $20 at a garage sale. It was only missing a pedal, so I'll get that replaced, but it's a big 29-incher with fenders and what have you, so that should be good. And if you're not real familiar with what I do, like I said, stay tuned. I'm making a motorized fat tire bicycle. Just about got that all figured out. I'm working on some of the chain stuff right now, getting it lined up right without hitting some of the tubing, so because I want to make sure I do that right. So just stay tuned for that. That's in the making. That should be done before January, or at least before February. So anyway, to this unboxing deal. So I ordered this from China for $140 off eBay, and I'm not really into the Groovy Skyhawk kits or whatever they are from America. Big deal. These don't cost that much, so I haven't had a problem with them yet. So this is pretty typical from China. Get my $5 Walmart knife out here. Get all this opened up. So that looks like that's the gas tank. I imagine the engine, most of that will be in here. And probably some of the carburetor and what have you will be over here, and chain and exhaust pipe. So I'm going to get these 3 boxes pulled out of here and sat down on the table, and we'll continue. Alright, so we'll go through this bigger box first, and try and do this with one hand. So here's the engine, and we just dropped the kill switch on the ground. So there's our twist throttle and our kill switch button, and sometimes these buttons have a tendency to be temperamental, but usually they work pretty good. They either work or they don't, but as you can see here, I ordered in a black engine for the black bicycle. So here it is. It looks pretty darn good, honestly, for China quality. It's got some longer studs on here and some nicer stuff. They deleted the white wire on these, so that's good, because you never want to use that anyway. But yeah, it should look pretty good over there on that bike, so at least that's the hope. So anyway, from there you have your carburetor, and it is an actual NT carburetor, so that's good. Some of them actually aren't, so I like the NT carburetors. Your other twist throttle, your clutch cable, your throttle cable, and your clutch lever. Now, I'm not a big fan of these push button levers. They work alright. Some of them work better than others. If you remember from my bike, and they actually don't make these anymore, and this was a China kit as well, it has a little trigger, and those work a little bit better, but I don't think they make those anymore, so you'll just have to deal with the push button stuff. Got our sprocket here that looks pretty good, so it's 44 tooth. So finally our chain, and I like the Chinese kits because they always come with the big old fat 415 chains that work perfect. So anyway, there's that, and we'll move to our other boxes now. Alright, and this other box here solely housed our gas tank, so there's not really much to say about that. You want to make sure that the studs there are welded up good, but we're really not going to know until we go ahead and fill it with fuel. Sometimes they're not perfect, and then you got to do a little finagling with them, but I've never had a problem myself thus far, so as long as you tighten them up correctly and you don't over tighten them, you should be fine. So anyway, our final box here should have our coil and stuff of that nature, so didn't need to do that. So there's our coil. So just a standard CDI, not a big deal. You know, sometimes they work, sometimes they don't. I've, again, always had good luck with them. Here's all your Sprocket assembly with, ooh, they actually even give you a fuel filter. That's pretty generous. Your two little rubber gasket deals to hold your sprocket onto your wheel, and your spark plug that you'll probably want to get a different one, but anyway, they got all that in there. And I generally don't use these that hold the exhaust onto the frame, but they include that. This is pretty handy for bikes like this, where it'll hook around the tube, so that's really nice. They usually don't come with those. And finally, I would have liked to have had some chrome exhaust with the black kits. They come with a black exhaust, which is fine, I guess. It's more inconspicuous, but that's just your standard exhaust pipe where you take the nut off the bottom and the chamber slides out, so that's good. And you always want to pull that chamber out. Hold on a sec, we'll take a look and see what I'm saying. Alright, so here is our exhaust pipe, and you always want to take this nut off and pull this chamber out, because sometimes the chamber flaps are actually bent and then the muffler isn't working properly, so you want to make sure that all the tubing is correct inside of it, and you'll be able to tell. So it's pretty obvious when it's not right. You won't have any question when you open it up, so I don't even need to show it because you'll just know. So anyway, there's that, and that's pretty much it for the extent of the bike. $140 gets you all this stuff, everything you need to motorize a bicycle. So we're going to go ahead and get it put on this bike here and see what she looks like. Okay, so here's the bike kit after it's all been finished and installed. Some interesting features about this kit versus other ones is a lot of the bolts are lock bolts, or I mean the nuts, excuse me. All the nuts are lock nuts, so that's really nice. So the tank bolt or the tank nuts were lock nuts. These nuts down here on this tube were lock nuts, and there were lock nuts on the back there, so that was good. That's an improvement on other kits. They have a way better fuel filter in this kit and a better shutoff valve, so those are pretty good. And this filter actually even has a magnet in the bottom to trap metal particulate. All the cables and everything came well. Again, this is a China kit, and I'll list the seller who I bought it from. And then where your throttle lever runs in actually has a peg, and you drill a hole in your handlebars and that peg slides in instead of the old ones that used to just clamp, and then over time you'd go to give it throttle and this whole assembly would start moving. So that's an improvement, and the peg is metal, so that's pretty nice. The only problem I had with the kit itself was that the chain hit on the inside here just a little bit, so I had to take this cover off and grind on the inside of it so that this chain would rotate freely. But pretty much from there, I didn't have a problem. CDI and everything seemed good. But yeah, China kit went together well. It runs good, so you know, you really can't beat that for $140. And obviously I got the black motor because it's going on. It went on a black bike, but pretty much some unboxing, and there it looks on the bike. So there you have it.